Wouldn't you like to get away to some beautiful tropical place? I certainly would. I have everything ready. I have my clothes, my swimsuit, my makeup, my hair products, my bead supplies. I have everything except the airline tickets, and that's what I need to work on. But in the meantime, I'm just going to settle for dreaming about a beautiful tropical getaway place like the one you saw in the intro. And of course, you also need to take some beautiful jewelry with you. And that's what we're going to be working on today. We're going to make that gorgeous starfish ocean themed necklace that you saw in the video. And we're going to be using the beads from Didi's Deluxe Bead Box for the month of February. Now this necklace is a little bit involved because it's a layered necklace. So there are many steps to put it together. But I think if you're a beginner, you shouldn't have any trouble. And if you're intermediate or advanced, you're probably going to breeze right through it. Now, one thing I did want to mention, guys, okay, you can always hit the pause button, all right? There's a pause button right on the YouTube screen. You can also adjust your playback settings so that the video plays slower. I've done that before a couple of times, but I got to warn you, if you do that, the YouTuber is going to sound like they're intoxicated, okay? That's what it sounds like to me anyways. But anyway, guys, I wanted to mention that because I know sometimes I go a little bit fast and I want you to be able to keep up, okay? And I want your experience to be pleasant at my channel, okay? I try to provide content that's appealing to everybody and I don't want to exclude anybody, okay? But anyway, like I said before, we're going to use Didi's Deluxe Bead Box, and if you're not familiar with that box, I'll leave a link down below so you can go check it out. And I know that the February box is sold out. She sells out pretty much immediately after she launches a box. But I'm going to leave a list of all the materials down in the description section of the video, so if you want to do a Google search, hopefully you'll be able to find the items. And if you're new here and you haven't subscribed, please think about doing so because it helps my channel and it helps me to stay motivated to create more content for you. And as always, I'll leave some timestamps down below as well, so if you want to skip forward to any portion of the video, you can do so. Alright, so that's enough talking. Let's go ahead and jump right into the tutorial. Okay, here's the box. Like I said before, it's the February edition and the name of the box is Tropical Getaway. Let's go ahead and get the items that we're going to be needing. We're going to definitely use all 3 strands, okay? So we have this beautiful sea sediment jasper in this gorgeous aqua blue color. Let me put this one aside. We're also going to be using some of these beautiful cream colored riverstone fossil jasper beads. We're going to need some beads from this strand here. These are the Mystic AB Peach Coral Faceted Crystals. We're going to be using these beautiful crystal bicones in this gorgeous aqua color. We're also going to use these carved coconut wood rondelles. We're going to use some of these magnesite starfish beads. And what inspired this necklace was this gorgeous starfish pendant. Okay, so we're going to be using this one as the focal. And we're definitely going to use this leather cord. And I think that's it. Let me go ahead and put this away. Now these didn't come in the box. These are fold over crimps, okay, with loops on them. We're going to use a couple of these on the leather cord. We're also going to be using some 20 gauge wire. This is artistic wire, as you can see, and it's tarnish resistant. And the color is antique bronze. I'm also going to use one of these to attach the pendant. These are called spacers with loops. Let me show you what they look like. As you can see, it's just a simple ring with a loop on it, okay? And I'm going to need one to attach the pendant. And if you don't have these, you can just use a jump ring. That's perfectly fine. But the reason I want these is because I want the pendant to hang below where the beads are going to be. And I'll show you what I mean later on, okay? We're going to be using some chain, and this is Figaro chain, and it's very delicate, as you can see. The links aren't that small though. I think they're 6 by 5, something like that. As you can see, Figaro chain is comprised of a large link and a small link, okay? Okay, as you can see, I pulled some of the beads off the strands. I haven't pulled these ones off yet because this is going to come later. We're going to work on these first. And I have sat down with them. I haven't really played with them that much. I've sat down and looked at them, and I think I know what I'm going to be doing. And we're going to start by assembling the pendant portion. So like I said before, I'm going to be attaching this spacer with a loop to the pendant. And I'm going to be using a very tiny jump ring. As you can see, this one's 4 millimeters in size. It may even be smaller than that, maybe a little bit. So let's go ahead and open up this jump ring. Let me connect it to the spacer bead first, and then the pendant, like this. And close up the jump ring. And the reason I wanted that tiny jump ring is because I didn't want the pendant to hang too low, okay? So this is what it looks like. So let me put this down, and we're going to work on the rest of the beads. I have my magic rod here. I'm going to be assembling some beads on this rod to give me an idea of what I'm going to be building, okay? And what I had in mind was to use these beautiful coconut wood beads, and I was going to use these by the Starfish pendant. So I think I'm going to stack maybe 4 together like this, or maybe 5 like this, and then the pendant like this, and then another 5 on the other side. So this is what I had in mind, okay? I think that looks cute. And by the way, for those of you who are not familiar, I use these rods to assemble my bead patterns and just to see how things look stacked up against each other. And if you don't have these rods, you can use a regular piece of artistic wire or some beading wire, okay? I like these rods because they're nice and stiff. They hold heavy beads. And by the way, if you're interested in them, they're called magic rods, and I do carry them in my Etsy store. So anyway, let's continue. What I was thinking about doing is adding some of these crystals at each end. And the reason I want to add the crystal is because the next bead I want to add is one of these starfish beads, okay? And so I want the crystal to sit inside these 2 little legs here, just like that, okay? Let me put a stopper on this end, and I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to the other end. So I'll flip it over, load a crystal and a starfish. So this is what we have so far, okay? And that looks kind of cute. And I think what I might do is maybe add another crystal to the other end of the starfish, or the other side of the starfish, like this. I like that. Let me add my stopper so I don't lose my beads. Okay, and I'll add a crystal to this end. So this is what we have so far. Okay, I like that. That looks really cute. And the reason I want to use these magnesite starfish is because I want to use this beautiful riverstone bead, okay? I'm going to be building another tier, and that's where I'm going to put these riverstone beads. So anyway, I kind of like that. I think it looks cute. Now this is going to go on a piece of 20 gauge wire, okay? And I'm just putting it on the rod just to see what it looks like. Let me go ahead and put a stopper on this end so I don't lose the beads. And I'm going to put it down and get another rod. Here's my other rod, okay? And like I said, guys, I'm just trying to figure out my bead pattern, okay? I have some idea because I've already looked at the beads, but I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do just yet, okay? But I do want to use these crystals on the orange beads. So I'm going to put 1 crystal at each end of the orange bead, just like that, okay? And that's going to be 1 beaded component. And then I'm going to separate each one of these components with one of these beads. So this gives me some idea of what it's going to look like. Okay, let me do this again. Crystal, rondelle, crystal, sediment jasper. So this is what I had in mind, okay? And I'm going to be doing each one of these separate, okay? So each one of these will be on a separate piece of wire. These 3 are going to be together on 1 piece of wire. These are going to be by themselves, okay? And that's basically how I'm going to build the necklace, and I think it's going to look really nice. So now that I have some idea of what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and get the wire. Here's my 20 gauge wire. I'm going to start out by assembling the focal piece, okay? And I'm going to cut myself a piece that's 5 inches because I'm going to be doing some wrap loops. Let me straighten my wire a little bit before I cut it off the spool. And now with some round nose pliers, I'm going to place them right here at about 1.25 inches down, okay? So I have enough room to make a loop and some wraps. Kink it so it's 90 degrees like this. Switch to this portion of the wire, okay? And I'm going to make myself a medium-sized loop. And I know that on my pliers, this is where I need to be. Yours may be different depending on what kind of pliers you have, okay? These are by Lindstrom, and they have skinny barrels. And if I place it in the middle, it gives me a medium-sized loop. But it all depends on your pliers, guys, okay? So once you have that, you're going to go ahead and wrap the tail around the nose of the pliers or the barrel of the pliers. Flip the pliers around and continue to wrap that tail towards the back like this. Okay. Remove the pliers. And now I like to grab the loop with another set of pliers, and these are actually crimping pliers, but I use just the tip of them because they grab really well, okay? I love to use these pliers to make my wraps. So I'm going to grab it like this. And now with another set of pliers, I'm going to grab the tail and do a couple of wraps. Just like that, okay? And now I'm going to cut the excess off, and I'm coming in with a flush side facing the wire, okay? And it's always a good idea to tuck the little tail in so you don't have anything sticking out. So this is what you should have, okay? All right, so now we're going to load these beads onto the wire, and I'm looking at these rondelles here, these wooden rondelles, and I'm noticing that this one here is a little bit thicker than the other ones. So I'm going to swap that out. I'm not going to load this one on. I think I'm going to use one of these instead. These are a little bit thinner. But anyway, let's go ahead and start, and I'm simply going to remove the stopper from this end. Take a bicone, load it onto my wire like this. And then I'm simply going to load the Starfish. And now I'm going to continue to load these beads. Let me swap out this fat rondelle, and I'll load this one instead. And now the pendant. The rest of these rondelles, as you can see, I'm able to load them all at once from the rod. That's one of the nice things about using the rod. Now these crystals I do have to do one at a time because they're tiny. But if I had several of these crystals lined up on a rod, I could definitely grab several at the same time. So here's what we have so far, and I think it looks really cute. So now I'm going to go ahead and form a loop on this end. Make sure my beads are stacked up against each other. And now I'm going to kink it. Switch. Like this. Wrap the tail around the nose of my pliers like this. Flip my pliers around. Continue to wrap to the back. Like this. And now I'm going to grab the loop with this set of pliers. Grab the tail with another set, and I'm going to do a couple of wraps. Just like that. Whenever I have to cut anything really close, I use my good set of pliers, okay? These are by Lindstrom. And again, I'm using the flush side up against the component. Tuck the tail in. And now let me check my loops, make sure they're facing the same direction, and it looks like they are. So this is the focal part of the necklace, and I think it looks really cute. Let me remove the rest of these starfish because I don't think we need these anymore. And these coconut wood beads, and we're going to be using these beads to form the strands. Now this component can actually be bent a little bit, okay? I think it'll sit better on the chest if it's bent a little bit like that. But I can manipulate this a little bit more later on when we attach the rest of the components. So let me put this off to the side. We're going to be cutting ourselves some more wire now. And this time we're going to cut 2.5 inch pieces. If you're advanced, you might be able to get away with less than 2.5 inches, okay? But if you're a beginner, definitely 2.5 inches because we're going to be doing wrap loops and you need enough wire to make those wraps. Alright, so here's some wire, and I'm probably going to need more, but I just want to get started. So like I said before, we're going to build two different kinds of beaded components. Let's go ahead and make the first one. We're going to grab the wire with our round nose pliers a little bit more than a third of the way down, okay, like this. Kink it, like that. Switch to this portion of the wire now. And now we're going to take that tail and wrap it around the barrel, like this. Flip your pliers around. Continue to wrap to the back, like this. Remove. Now before we thread a bead on, we're going to take this end and connect it to this loop here, like this. Grab the loop. And now grab the tail and go ahead and do a couple of wraps. Like this. Snip off the excess. Tuck the little end. Thread on one of these jasper beads, these blue ones. Like this. And now we're going to do another wrap loop at this end. So you want to grab the wire at the top of the bead like this. Line up the bottom loop, okay? And now kink it away from you like this. Switch to this portion of the wire like this. Take the tail, wrap it around like this. Flip your pliers around and continue to wrap to the back like this. Remove the pliers. Grab the loop. Grab the tail with another set and do a couple of wraps. And now we're going to cut off the excess. Tuck the little tail in. And this is what we have so far. Okay, and that looks really cute. Let me put it down so you can take a look. Okay, so the next component is going to have these beads here. So once again, take a piece of wire. Grab the wire a little bit more than a third of the way down. Kink it. Switch. Wrap the tail around the nose. Flip your pliers around. Continue to wrap to the back. Like this. Before you close that loop, hook it up to this one here. Like this. And now you can go ahead and close it. And because this is 20 gauge wire, you really don't need more than a couple of wraps, guys, okay? I know some people like to do more than that. You certainly can if you want to. I just don't like a lot of wraps. I'd rather see the beads. But that's just my preference. And now I'm going to tuck the tail in. Okay, so now we're going to thread on one of these crystals, the aqua crystals. One of these rondelles. Another one of these aqua crystals. So this is what we have so far. I like that. And now we're going to go ahead and form a loop at this end. Line up the bottom loop. Kink it. Switch. Wrap the tail around the pliers. Flip your pliers around and continue to wrap to the back. Like this. Grab the loop and do a couple of wraps. Cut off the excess. Tuck the tail in. And this is what we have so far. Okay, I think that looks adorable. So that's how I'm going to build this strand, okay? And at this point, I don't know how many of these components I'm going to make just yet, okay? So what I'm going to do now is keep building them, okay? I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'll build the components and then I'll stop when I think I've reached the desired length, okay? So what I'm going to do is speed up the film so you don't have to sit through that whole thing. And of course, ultimately, it's up to you to decide how long you want your necklace, okay? I'm just going to give you some guidelines based on what I want. But if you want yours longer, you're going to have to build more of these components. So let me keep going. Like I said, I'm going to speed up the film and I'll meet you back. I'm back and I finished building and connecting the components, as you can see, and I think it looks gorgeous. I really like it. I think I'm going to curve this one a little bit more though, and I'm doing that so it sits better on the chest, okay? But as you can see, I left these two ends open because I wanted to let you know that this final loop should be bigger, okay? Because we're going to connect some leather cord through it. So I'm going to make a slightly bigger loop than I did on this end. But it's the same process, okay? You just grab the loop, but you grab it further up the barrel, okay? Where it's thicker, just like that. Wrap it around, like this. Flip your pliers around, and then continue to wrap to the back. As you can see, it's a much bigger loop, okay? And now we're going to go ahead and do the two wraps. Cut off the excess and tuck the little end in. So now this end is done, and I'm going to do the same thing with this end. So now both ends are finished, as you can see, okay? And I think it looks adorable. I really do. I love it. I love the blue sediment jasper, and I love the touch of the coral faceted rondelles. I think it looks gorgeous. So now that this is done, I'm going to remove these large jasper beads and these rondelles because I don't think we need them anymore. And I'm just going to keep the crystals. As you can see, I have 5 crystals here, and that's because I want to create some little dangles for this chain. The chain's going to sit above this strand here, okay, like this. And I'm also going to use these riverstone beads. Let me go ahead and remove some. So this is what I was thinking of doing, and I'm not sure if I should have 3 or 5. I think I am going to have 5. So this is what I was thinking about doing, okay? I'm going to connect each one with a head pin, and I have some brass colored head pins here, very thin, so I can definitely do wrapping. So basically, I'm just going to load a crystal and then one of these riverstone beads like this. Let me go ahead and load the rest. So this is what I was thinking about, okay? I am going to do some wrap loops, and I'm going to go ahead and attach them directly onto the chain so I don't have to use jump rings. So before I do that though, I have to cut myself a piece of chain and I have to figure out how long I want it to be. So let me move this out of the way for the time being. I'm going to be attaching the chain to the leather cord, which is going to be attached to this loop, okay? So the leather cord will have one big loop and both of these will be attached to it, if that makes any sense. And I'm going to hang the chain like this, something like that, okay? So what I'll do is I'll cut a piece of chain that's this length, plus I'm going to give myself another inch or so just to make sure that I have enough chain, okay? So I'm basically going to cut it here. I'm going to cut one of these little links. So that I have the big link to work with, okay? Let me go ahead and remove this link from the other end. So here's my chain, okay? Now the best way to do this is just to go ahead and create loops. And I'm not going to attach them just yet. I'm just going to do a loop and then wrap it around like this. And these loops are going to be a little bit smaller than what I've been doing, okay? And I'm not going to close it with wraps. I'm going to leave it like this. So let me do the same with the other 4. Okay, as you can see, I formed loops on all of them, but I haven't done the wraps yet, okay? So now I'm going to take my chain and I'm going to find the center. The best way to find the center is to insert a piece of wire through the first link and then again through the last link, like this. So now that you have the 2 links on your wire, it's very easy to find the center link, and it's this one right here, okay? I'm going to take a component now, and now I'm going to go ahead and connect it to this link, the center link, like this, and I'm going to go ahead and form some wraps. Snip off the excess, tuck in the little end, and let's see how this looks. I like that. I think it looks really cute. So now I need to figure out where I'm going to hang the next one. And I think I'm just going to hang it here like this, okay? So I'm going to skip this big link and I'm going to hang it on this one right here, okay? One thing you need to make sure you do though, you want to make sure you hang your dangles on the same side of each link, okay? In other words, you don't want to hang this one here on this side of the link and then hang the other one on that side, if that makes any sense. You want them all on the same side, okay? So I'm going to hang it right here on this side. Let me slide it in like this. Grab the loop and do a couple of wraps. And now let me cut the excess off. Tuck the little tail in. Let's see how that looks. I love it. It looks really cute. So I'm going to hang the other 3 the same way. So here are the dangles attached, as you can see, and I think it looks adorable. So now that I have them attached, I can figure out how long I want this chain to be, okay? And I'll just snip off the excess. I'm thinking it should probably hang something like this, okay? And this is a no stress project because I'm going to simply attach it with a jump ring, okay? So I can definitely change it and I can definitely attach it before I even snip off the excess, okay? But before we do any of that, we're going to go ahead and finish these strands with leather cord. I'm going to use the leather cord to finish the top of the necklace, and I am going to do some barrel knots, okay? So if you don't like barrel knots, you can simply do a regular knot like this, okay? I don't want to do it because I don't want to ruin the leather, but I know some of you don't like barrel knots. I just think that they sit better on the chest, okay? But if you want to do a simple knot like this, you can certainly do it. You may have to add some glue to reinforce it, okay? But we're going to do some barrel knots, and I'm going to show you an easy way to do it. I like to use a straw for my barrel knots, okay? I actually snipped this off a straw that I got from a coffee shop, okay? It's a little bit thinner than your average straw. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to thread the leather cord through the loop like this, and we're going to leave a tail that's about at least 2 inches, okay? You want the tail at the bottom and the long piece of leather at the top. Take your straw and place it on top like this. Hold your leather cord like this, okay? And now you're going to take the long end and you're going to go around the back and do 3 wraps. So 1, 2, and 3 like this. Okay. Take the long end now and you're going to thread it through the straw this way. Pull it. Now you do need to hold on to your wraps. Okay. Now you're going to remove the straw. And you're going to pull this tail here because this is what's going to shorten this loop, okay? Hold on to your wraps and then pull this other end, the longer end. So basically you're pulling both, okay? And you want to take your time when you do this. You don't want to rush this. The other thing I like to do is to roll it between my index finger and my thumb like this. And if you hold this loop and pull on the long tail, it tightens the wraps a little bit more. Now the loop of the leather does need to be a decent size, okay? Because we need to attach the chain with a jump ring, so there needs to be room in there for the jump ring, okay? But once you get the right size loop, you want to definitely make sure you get that barrel knot nice and tight. You want the wraps to be nice and uniform, okay? And this is what you should end up with, okay? Pretty simple. And once you've formed your wraps and you're happy with them, you can go ahead and cut off the rest of this leather. Just like that, okay? As you can see, the leather is light colored and I don't like to see that necessarily, okay? So what I do is I get a marker, and I don't care if it's black. I'd rather see black than to see a light color there, okay? But if you have a brown marker, that would be the ideal. I actually do have something that's brownish. So I'm simply going to dab it with this brown marker like this. And that looks a little bit better, okay? I don't have anything darker, but if you have a darker marker, that would be better. But anyway, this is much better than just having it light colored. Now I am going to reinforce these wraps with some glue later on once we get done with it, okay? Just to give it some more security, all right? So now that the barrel knot is formed, I'm going to take this to the mirror, hold it up to my chest, and figure out where I need to cut the leather, okay? And we're going to attach the clasp with a fold over crimp, so that's going to be easier than the barrel knot, okay? So let me go ahead and take this to the mirror and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back and I've decided I'm going to cut myself a piece this long, okay? And it's actually 4.5 inches, not including the barrel knot, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and snip it right there. While I was at the mirror, I also attached this one here with a jump ring just to see how much chain I need to snip off. And I think I'm going to snip off this much. But anyway, when I get done, I'm going to give you the measurements of everything, okay? So now that I've cut off the end, I'm going to go ahead and attach the fold over crimp. Let me go ahead and get a couple that are antique brass. And this is very easy, guys, okay? You simply take your cord and place it inside the crimp like this, okay? And the best way to do this is to close one flap first, like this. And then go ahead and close the other one, like this. And I'm probably the only one who uses crimping pliers to round it off, but I like to round it off like this, okay? So I'm basically giving it a little squeeze to give it a nice round shape. So it's like a cylinder. And trust me, guys, these fold over crimps are very, very strong. Your leather cord will not come out, okay? But it's very easy to test. Just grab the loop with some pliers and pull the cord. Make sure that it's secure. And it seems to be very secure in there, okay? So this end is done. So now we're going to do the exact same thing to this side. So once again, get your leather cord and thread it through the loop of your beaded component, like this. You want the long end on the top and the short end on the bottom. Fold it over like this. Take your straw and place it on top, like this. And now you're going to take the long end and go behind and go around 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. Take the other end of your leather cord and feed it back through the straw. Hold on to your wraps, pull it all the way through, and then remove your straw. And now you're going to tighten your wraps. Hold on to them the whole time, okay? That's the key. And you want to adjust this loop here to the correct size. So you want to pull the short end to adjust the loop and then pull the long end to tighten the wraps. Roll the wraps between your index finger and your thumb to make sure they're uniform, okay? And then before you tighten them all the way, check to make sure that you have the exact same loop that you had on this side. You want them to be the same, okay? So I need to shorten mine a little bit. Let's check it out. Okay, that looks good. And then go ahead and tighten your wraps. And that looks pretty good. So now we're going to go ahead and snip off the excess. Let me go ahead and dab some color onto that end. So now that we have that done, we're going to go ahead and hold it up to the other one that we formed earlier. And we want to make sure that we cut it exactly the same as the other one, okay? So I'm going to cut it right here. And now let's insert it into the fold over crimp, like this. Fold one of the flaps over, and then fold the other one over, like this. And then you can go ahead and round it out if you want to. You don't have to, okay? I like mine rounded. And it actually tightens it up even more, in my opinion. So that's done now. You can also add a little color to this end, okay? Let me do this end now. So this is what we have so far, and I love it. I think it's so cute. And since I've already figured out how long I want this piece of chain, all I have to do is count the lengths and then make sure that I have the same amount on this side. So let me go ahead and do that. So without counting the one with the dangle, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 large lengths. I'm going to go ahead and snip off what we don't need on this end. So this one's done, and I did use a 6mm jump ring there, okay? And now let me go ahead and connect this other side. And figure eight chain is kind of tricky because it does twist around, but you do want to make sure that your links are laying flat, okay? You don't want them all twisted around. So let's count 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm going to cut this one right here. Let me go ahead and do that now. And now let's go ahead and attach it with a 6mm jump ring. So I'm simply going to hook it up to the last link like this. And now I'm going to hook it up to the loop of the leather cord like this. And close it up. I'm going to make sure that I close it really well because this figure eight chain is pretty thin. So this is done, and I think it's adorable. I have 2 6mm jump rings, and I have a lobster claw clasp. And let's open up this jump ring. Attach the lobster claw clasp like this, and then attach it to the loop of this fold over crimp. Close it up. Now the loop of this crimp is really thin, as you can see, so it's critical that you get jump rings that close really well. And these are really good quality jump rings. As you can see, you can barely see where the cut is. And that's what you want, okay? Let's go ahead and open this one up now. And we'll attach it to this end. Like this. And close it up. I don't know if you heard that little snap, but when you hear that snap, that's a good sign because it means it's a good quality jump ring and it closed really well. Now that everything's done, we're going to go ahead and add some glue to the wraps. Let me put down a piece of cardboard so I don't mess up my board. You're simply going to add a little bit of glue in between the wraps like this, a very small amount, okay? And this does dry clear, so you don't have to worry about it showing. And I always put in some in here as well. And you want to go all the way around, a very small amount. And you want to put some in here as well where the loop is, okay? So that's done. Same thing on this side. Put some in here. Put some in here where the loop is. And you want to make sure you apply the glue in between all the wraps. A very small amount. All the way around. Just like that, okay? I recommend that you let the glue dry for at least 24 hours, okay? Just to make sure that it dries properly before wearing the necklace. So anyway, guys, I think this necklace turned out adorable. It's really, really pretty, and I love this leather cord. It's so gorgeous. I love the starfish here and how they coordinate with the riverstone beads, and these gorgeous orange rondelles coordinate with the leather cord. And the coconut wood beads add another texture, another element. And of course, I love these beautiful sea sediment jasper beads. Let me go ahead and tell you the measurements of everything. So from the cord end to where the pendant is about 10 inches, okay? So that means it's 20 inches total. And then from the cord end to the bottom of this chain here is about 9 inches. So that means that this chain will be the equivalent of an 18-inch necklace. But like I said, the length is completely up to you. If you wanted something longer, you could add more beaded components or more leather cord. It's completely up to you. But anyway, I think this is a gorgeous, beachy, boho layered necklace. I love the beautiful colors and the different textures, and I hope you like it as well. And as always, I'm going to go ahead and put it on and show you what it looks like. Are you ready for your cruise? I certainly am. Now, if I don't make it to a cruise this year, I'm definitely going to go to the beach. I love the beach, and I'm not going to miss out this summer, I can tell you that. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I really love this necklace. I thought it turned out really cute. I hope you can make your own. And if you don't have the materials, like I said before, I'll leave a detailed list of all the materials down below in the description section of the video. And one more thing I wanted to mention for those of you who like the minimalist look, if you don't want a layered look like this, you can always just do the first tier with the chain and the riverstone beads, and it'll be just as cute. Alright guys, that's all for today. I hope you had fun. I certainly did. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.